This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. In an era where smartphones reign supreme, the modest wristwatch may appear outdated. However, there is much more to these timepieces than meets the eye. Explore the 10 intriguing insights, from their unseen environmental effects to the psychological influence of their size, which will transform your perspective on watches in this video brought to you by the luxury world. If you still need to subscribe to our channel, we encourage you to do so now to stay updated on our future videos. Misaligned screws. Some watches are being criticized, like Hublot, for having misaligned screws, and others have complained about the misaligned screws on the bezel of a Cartier. While they are not wrong, they often point to the royal oak as proof that proper alignment is possible. However, this is a misconception. The AP does not use screws, it uses bolts. These bolts are angled, placed into sockets, and fastened from below, ensuring alignment without rotation. Achieving the level of engineering precision required for screw threads and sockets to align perfectly so that the heads are oriented correctly is nearly impossible. Occasionally, someone might get a Rolex day-date with a crown logo perfectly aligned when fully screwed in, but this is an exceptionally rare occurrence. Titanium on watches. Here is an issue that arises with titanium. It is not that we do not recognize the benefits titanium can bring to a tool watch. We have occasionally criticized our preference for grade 5 over grade 2. But that is not the main concern here. Titanium has impressive anti-corrosive properties, and its lightweight can be advantageous in a watch. The hypoallergenic properties of titanium are among the factors that make it an attractive choice. However, the issue with titanium is that brands have managed to deceive us. When you think of gold watches, you naturally associate them with a luxury material that, relative to its weight, allows manufacturers to increase the retail price significantly. It is the same for gold, platinum, carbon, and ceramics. These luxury materials command luxury prices. With titanium, manufacturers have successfully convinced consumers to pay a luxury premium, enhancing their margins while maintaining the illusion that the benefits are primarily functional. In reality, they are not. Titanium is significantly more expensive than steel, but this cost difference is more about generating profit than offering superior functional characteristics. 50 Fathoms. Ever since Blancpain released the original 45mm 50 Fathoms, people have been clamoring for a non-limited 42mm version. This year, we finally got a 42mm model, but it seems like no one cared. The watch in actuality is a bit tall, but when you consider the 120-hour power reserve and the triple barrel movement, you cannot help but forgive everything. This watch is impressive. Yes, the $16,000 price tag is steep, and you are paying for the titanium luxury premium. But we genuinely believe this watch deserves much more attention. We would choose this over a Submariner any day. It is just on another level. Another point about Blancpain. Our second point about the Blancpain 50 Fathoms is that, as far as we can tell, no one noticed this. The new 42mm 50 Fathoms is almost the same size as the Swatch 50 Fathoms. The height, diameter, and lug-to-lug measurements are nearly identical, with only a half-millimeter difference in lug width. The Swatch was essentially the prototype, and Blancpain hinted at the launch of the new 50 Fathoms, but no one realized it. The use of bioceramic. This was a major talking point with the Moon Swatch. What is bioceramic? Wasn't it just plastic or a mix of plastic and other elements? Yes, it is plastic, but that is not the issue. The issue with bioceramic is not that it is plastic. The problem lies in the fact that historically, many companies, especially petrochemical and biochemical firms, have marketed bioplastics as more biodegradable and compostable than regular plastics. This has been a way to make plastic more acceptable to modern consumers who are concerned about the environment. The real problem is that bioplastics are more biodegradable, but usually only when processed in an extremely specific way. They do not degrade naturally in the environment any faster than regular plastic. It is the specialized processing that accelerates the degradation process. However, very few people ensure that these products end up in the right disposal facilities that can process them correctly. Therefore, they rarely undergo the treatment needed for enhanced biodegradation. The issue is not that Swatch is pretending bioceramic is not plastic. The issue is that they are pretending this material is inherently better for the environment, which is likely not the case. Cartier Santos Dual Time. The Cartier Santos Dual Time has been quite popular for Cartier. Whenever it is being posted about, it gets a lot of attention. It is a cool watch. This year, they released a dual time version, which is not great. The dual time feature is messy and not particularly useful, but that is beside the point. What bothers us is that Cartier initially went to Piaget for a movement, but since Piaget did not have a suitable one, Cartier, as usual, used whatever fit their design constraints. They ended up with a Sellita SW330 for $9,150. This is more expensive than the Hublot Classic Fusion with a Sellita SW200, and no one seemed to comment on it, at least not that we noticed. Bremont. Meanwhile, Bremont has received a lot of negative press for their rebranding and new watches, which many find dull, stale, and pessimistic. Bremont has positioned itself as the pricey counterpart to Hamilton. Bremont covers land, sea, and air with its Terra Nova, Supermarine, and Altitude collections. Similarly, Hamilton offers land, sea, and air options with its field, navy, and aviation lines. For instance, the Hamilton Khaki Expedition with a white dial exemplifies this range. Vintage Lume, compass bezel, leather strap. Terra Nova with a white dial, vintage lume, compass bezel, and leather strap. The Supermarine is a middle-of-the-road diver, similar to the Navy Frogman, another average diver. Bremont is essentially the expensive version of Hamilton at this point. Singer and artist influence on watches. While we appreciate some Hublot watches like Ed Sheeran, we also recognize that $8,000 for a watch with a Sellita movement is excessive. To them, as high-profile figures like John Mayer, such details may not matter. It might as well have been a Swatch Moon swatch to them. However, for most of us, the value proposition is significantly affected by such cost-cutting measures. John Mayer and Ed Sheeran seemed oblivious to this perspective. Secondly, there was a sense of cognitive dissonance. Both John and Ed claimed to be above caring about others' opinions of their watches, yet they admitted to feeling embarrassed about wearing the Patek Nautilus Tiffany dial and avoided wearing it in public. While they claimed superiority to others' judgments, they could not bring themselves to wear the hyper-limited Tiffany Nautilus. Patek at Watch and Wonders. Watches and Wonders used to be an industry event where the press and manufacturers would gather to display new watches. However, last year, Watches and Wonders were open to the public to make the world of watches more inclusive and accessible to a wider audience. However, what happened? During the open days, IWC and Patek Philippe had VIP lounges, and access to their displays required appointments. While it is understandable that access to high-end Patek watches might require a history of purchases, during the 3 days when the Swiss watch industry was supposed to be open to the public, they decided to remain closed off to them. Sure, you could see the watches from the outside, but what kind of arrogant, condescending, out-of-touch behavior is that? For just 3 days out of the year, it is not too much to ask to avoid being inhospitable. Swiss chocolate on Watch and Wonders. Lastly, let us talk about Swiss chocolate. We all know that Swiss-made is a flexible term, with only 50% of the watch needing to be manufactured in Switzerland and assembly needing to occur there. But what about the ingredients? While enjoying a delicious molten chocolate bar in Switzerland at Watches and Wonders, we could not help but wonder, where were these Swiss cocoa plants located on the shores of Lake Geneva? It is all about branding, isn't it? What are your thoughts on the topic we shared in this video? If you enjoyed the video, we would appreciate it if you let us know by leaving a comment and giving it a thumbs up. Do not forget to follow our channel for more content. Thank you for watching The Luxury World, and we look forward to having you join us in our upcoming videos.